unmute.
Good morning, Pearl. Good morning, Benita.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hi, thank you for joining us today. We're just going to give the other attendees 2 minutes so that everybody gets a chance to join the session, and then Letitia will begin.
Morning, everybody. It's
Morning.
10 o'clock, so we can wait maybe another minute to give some more people to join us.
Morning.
Morning, Letitia.
Okay, am I going to start now? So, good morning, everybody. I believe most of you know me. I'm Letitia, and I'm a senior consultant at Adinga. I've been a consultant for 6 years, and every day I'm also still learning, and that's why we are basically having this session as well, is to share with you some of the new features that I've learned, and see how we can improve your business. I'm going to stop sharing so I can go back over to PowerPoint. Sorry, I'm going to stop my video. Okay. Not stop sharing. Okay. So I just want to say welcome to everybody and thank you for the opportunity to share with you. Some of you might already know some of the features, and hopefully showing you or going through the process, you will also learn some new stuff. And if we may, you can post your questions in the questions and answers, but if we can leave all the questions for after the session, then I can just go through the session quickly. Okay, so in this session, we just go back there. So in this session, what we're going to do is we are going to set up banking accounts and statement imports, automating the bank reconciliation with real-time matching, bulk uploading of journal transactions, avoiding common import errors, and best practice for finance team using Acumatica. Okay, I actually made some screenshots. So When we, okay, so this is for the batch processing and the upload of the bank file into the bank. And I'm using FNB as my example. So for batch processing, the first thing we need is a unique payment method, because that payment method will have export scenario that you can export from Acumatica. It will also have payment method details. So if you ever wondered where that banking instructions comes from, this is where we set it up on the payment method. And this is what normally what the bank requires you to complete to be able to upload into the bank. Then after we've done the payment method, on the cash account, what is important is your external reference number, because that is your link between Acumatica and your actual bank. We need, this one is also quite important, match bank transaction to batch payments. This allows you to either post it into your bank as individual lines, or it will post into your bank as a consolidated line. That's also your preference. So when you upload your bank file, what do you select? Consolidated amount or individual amounts? And then this statement import is the OFX. So Acumatica does allow you to export or to import as a Excel as well, but then you have to still change the file in the layout that Acumatica wants it. With OFX, you just upload it into the bank. You can also see I've got remittance settings here, and then I've got my FNB batch, and this settings is your banking details. Some of the banks also require these fields. I know FNB does. So we complete this. So this is where Acumatica, the export file, will pull it through to get the information on the export file. Okay. Then we've got a customization that we loaded on the employee itself, where we can say this employee can edit vendors. Why we've done that is a lot of times, because you upload a file into the bank with banking details that was set up in Acumatica, it is a high risk for anybody to go in and just change banking details. So what we've done is we've done some customization where we say, should anybody change banking details or payment method on a vendor, it will go on hold. And if you don't have this edit vendors tick on your profile, the vendor will stay on hold, and only the person with this setting can make the vendor active again. And this person activating the vendor should double check the banking details. And again, if someone comes in, change banking details, it will go on hold again. So on the vendor itself, you can see my vendor I put on hold, and you can also see it's grayed out. I can't change it. So only the employee with the vendor can do that. Important here is your payment method, your cash account, and then here's your payment instructions. And I just want to mention that just like we've done the vendors, we can also have payment details and upload the file actually into the bank for customers as well. So if you do have customers with debit orders, we do have the functionality to do that as well. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to demonstrate to you how the automating of the bank reconciliation with real-time matching. Okay, so there's actually two steps with this one. I'm going to first show you the AP process, and then I'm going to do the upload of the OFX file. Okay, so I'm just going to switch screens quickly.
427.80.
Right. So a lot of companies, so in Acumatica, there's like three ways you can do a payment. You can either do a payment from your bank, processing your bank, and then you create the payment there, and it will automatically go into your receivables or payables. Or you can do a one-on-one payment where you can go into payables, checks and payments, and you go and create the bank. But a lot of times it's very time consuming, and to do one-on-one payments can take forever. So Acumatica also have a feature to do bulk payments. So what we do is you can either do it per vendor, or you can do it like just say, okay, due date cutoff, pay all those suppliers. So to do that, I'm going to navigate to payables, processes, and prepare payments. Okay, so here I'm going to select my payment method, which will be my FNB batch, and I'm going to have it put in my cash account. So by default, all my vendors will come up because I've got a payment date and I've got pay within 7 days. If I untick it, I might have more vendors. In this case, I don't. Okay, I can also put in my cutoff date. Let's say end of April. Not a lot there, so let's go end of May. Okay, so you can see there's a little bit less. You can also untick that, and again, all the documents will come up. But let's say we're going to pay everything up until today's date. So I'm going to go and select today's date. So here you've got a couple of options. So you can see there, that's my due date when the payments are due. You can double click on it and you can override the amount that you want to pay for the invoice. So you don't have to pay this amount. If there were cash discounts on these invoices, the cash discount will show there. And also remember, you can drag and drop where you want to see your columns. So I can see my discount amount, should there be any discount. You can also filter on the column. So I can say, you know what, only give me less than 1st of June. Okay. Then there's only 2. So you can also use your due dates. You can also use your due date, let's say, again, the end of May. But let's say I only want 1 day. You see, so it's more accurate to say, okay, this is the end of the month payments. But I'm still going to take everything that I want to pay because I need 4 invoices. So you can go and you can say yes, you can select the amounts and you can see the amount that you are going to pay. And then you can just click on process all. If you don't want to do it that way, and if you say, no, you want to know it, I prefer doing it by vendor, you can, I'm just going to untick that. You can go there and you can say, okay, you know what, I want to say, I want 1 vendor, AA Services. You can tick AA Services and you can see what you pay AA Services. So you don't have to go and just go and do it in bulk. You can do it per vendor. If you do it by vendor, it will take you to a different screen, but then you must just go backspace and go back. Okay, so I'm just going to do it by vendor. So I'm going to select it and I'm going to say process all. If I say process all, I don't have to tick the boxes. Okay. So it's taking me to the process checks and payment screen. I'm just going to go backspace on top here. And then I can put in my next vendor, which will be AA vendor. But seeing I've got 2, I'm just going to select them and say process all. At this point, you can also put approval on your payments. And the approval, that one didn't tick, so I'm just going to say process. No, I'm not going to say process all now. Okay, so you can go this way and you can do all your payments. If you wanted approvals, you can set up approvals, and at this stage, it will go to pending approval. And then from there, you can approve it. I'm just going to show you quickly. Okay, this is pending print and not pending approval, but I do have options here that I can just put on my menu. And this is, we just customize the generic inquiry for this. So by default, you don't see approved there or you don't see release there, but we can add it on the generic inquiry. So you can actually, from this screen, you can click on your payments, you can approve it, and from here you can release it. Okay, but we're not going to do that now. So the next step is we are going to go into, now we've done all the payments, we're going to go into process payments and print checks. And we're going to just go and select the payment method and cash account. Okay, so all the payments that I just generated will end up here. I can just go and say process all. If you want to see the amount before you do that, you can just click there and you can see what is the amount you're going to process. Otherwise, you can just process all. So now it will take you to batch payment screen. So this is the payment that you're going to upload into your bank. Before you, while it's still on hold and you see there's maybe a payment that you don't want, you can still go in and you can delete the payments. You can also have the option to add a payment. So maybe you've already created your batch, but now you see, okay, but there's another supplier you need to pay. You can manually go and create a payment. You can come into your batch and you can add it manually. So go in here. Sorry, I do apologize for that. I'm in the office and the power just went off now. I'm just going to share my screen again. Okay, so I was here at the batch payments. I'm just going to open that screen again. So, okay, so now I've got my batch payments. I can see the amount I'm going to pay into the bank and I can remove hold. So I've got an option now to export. And the reason why we put the export button before the release button is that you can first import it successfully into your bank and then you can come and export it. Should for any reason there be a problem in the bank, you do have the option to come and put it back on hold and remove some of the lines and import it again. If we don't do that, and if you release it and there's a problem, then you have to void this whole batch and start over. Okay, so I'm going to click on export. Okay, now you can see it was successful and you can see there's a file. So if I click on this and I can see there's a file, I can open the file just to show you how it looks like. Convert. Okay. So this is the file that is going to upload in my bank. I do have the option to send a notification to the supplier, or you can send a notification to yourself, or we can set this to no and then you don't get any email notification. Yeah. So this file you take and you just upload it into your bank. After you've uploaded successfully, you can come back here and you need to release this. Reason why we need to release this is you can see it's printed status, which means it's not on your vendor and it's not in your bank and it's not in the GL. Okay, so we release it, so we post to the relevant modules. Okay, now it's closed status. So what is nice about this whole process is the fact that I've done payments and I linked my invoices and I didn't have to do anything manually. I know it's a manual process to do the batch processing, but I didn't have to go into my checks and payments and load invoices. I could just do it like this. So what happens now is I've set up an automatic remittance to be sent to the supplier. So I am on a test environment, so the emails is not going to send, but I'm still going to show you how the email looks like. So if I go into time and expenses and all emails, I can see there's remittances that has been sent. So if I open it, I can show you how it looks. The body of the email we can change. It doesn't have to be like this, but if I go to files and I download this, the amount that was paid. So this will email automatically to the supplier. So in this case, you can see it is Alcombring at Inga. Okay, so that's my batch payments. And after you've done your batch payments, maybe you want a report. You need a report to maybe attach to your files that this is the payment run that you've done. Then under payables, reports, other, I've got AP batch detail list and AP batch listing. So the difference between the two is the one just give you a one-liner to say this is the suppliers you've paid. The other one will give you more detail to say which invoices you paid. So let's run these two reports. Okay, so if I go to my batch that I just generated, I can see as one-liners, it looks a bit skew there, but I can see there's my amount I paid. This is the suppliers I've paid, and then per supplier there's an amount as well. If I go to the listing report, you can see the same information on top, but you can then see the bills that you've paid. So this is the payments that is linked to that batch. And then you can print it, export it, and you can keep it on file to say this is the invoices you've paid on this batch. Okay, now we've paid a supplier, all the suppliers, they've got a remittance to say what invoices was paid. Now you need to go and do your banking. So now I'm just going to show you how to upload a bank statement. So I am going to go into banking. If I can find it, there's banking. Because I'm using OFX, I don't have to go into import bank transactions and first do it here. I can go straight to process bank transactions. If I did not use OFX and I used Excel, I had to go into import bank transactions first. So I can just go and open my bank. Okay, so you can see there it ends at 2,400. Then from here, I can click on upload file. I can go and choose my file and I can go and say, okay, where's my file? Sorry, I just need to go and find it. Oh, no, it's the wrong place. Oh, there it is. Okay, upload a file. And now at the bottom, you can see there's more entries. And you can see, okay, there's all the entries coming through. It's only disbursements. So I took this from my own bank, so I didn't use anything. Okay, so doing this, now you can go on and now you can say, okay, now we're going to go and create a payment and do all that stuff. But we're not going to do that. So I just want to show you here with OFX, you didn't have to go into your import statement. You just go up here and you can come and upload your bank file. When we do that, and if we do go to bank transactions, you can see it generated the import bank file for me. Okay, so you still have it here. You can still go in here and you can unmatch it if you need to unmatch the entries. but yeah, you don't have to do it here. But if you want to do it here, you can click on the plus and you can upload your file from here. It's the same function. Okay. Okay, so the next one is I'm going to show you how to do bulk uploading with journals. So for my own convenience, I've put it onto my menu. So under finance, I got import GL transactions. If you've got any imports that you do in bulk, and most of the times you will go into more items integration and you will do it from here. But we can put it on the menu so it's easily accessible. You don't have to go through a long way. Okay, so I'm going to go to import GL transactions. So here, when you do have an import and you've lost your template, you can just go into files and download a new template. So this one should always be in here. There should always be at least one. Okay, so I've already prepared a file here. So I'm just going to go and find it quickly. Please. Maybe I'll just download one quickly. Oh yeah, import journals. Okay, so the import file will like for the batch imports, but it works the same for it will work the same for your vendors, it will work the same for customers. So you can see I've got different batch numbers here. So because I've got different batch numbers here, it will generate 4 journals for me. So this batch number indicator splits my journals. This is how it knows to make it 2 journals. So even if I've got different dates and I've got one number, it will just take the last date and overwrite the dates all the time. So the batch number indicates whether the journal must be split or not. And then whatever you put on your screen. So if you look at this first section here, up until here, I'm going to make it a different color for you. This is the header section. So if you do something manually and when you prepare your file, always think about the screen. So you can see this is the header section of my journal entry form. And this is my line section. Okay, so just like a screen, when you capture something on a screen, it's got two, like a header section and a detail section. The same for any journal entry or any import that you do. It's got a header section and it's got a line, a detail section. And very important is your sheet name. Okay, so if we give you a template and the sheet name is data, you leave it data. Okay, because if you're going to change this to sheet 1, it's not going to import. It's going to give you an error. Okay, so I'm just going to save that and leave that quickly. So if I go back to my Acumatica, okay, so you can see I've got upload files here. By default, you don't have it there. And also remember, if you put a star next to any option on this ... it will stay on your menu here. So I know a lot of people drag and drop the file in here, but doing that, it will just grow and grow this files here. Okay, so by default, I just tell the people don't drag and drop the files up here because you're just like making this file bigger. It's not necessary to drag and drop. Okay, it's better not to drag and drop. You have to click on upload file version and you go and choose your file that you want to upload. And then you can click on prepare, and basically the file you see in front of you is exactly the file. You see the screen now? Okay, so the file you see in front of you should be a match to what is in your Excel. And if you want to test it first, so say for instance, you're not sure that your import is going to work. So what I normally do is I toggle activation. I click, say, 2 items because I know the 2 items is one journal. I can see it's one journal. And then I import it. Okay, so you can also save it. So yes, now it's imported. If I go to my journal import screen, so I right click, open a new tab to have a new screen. I can see, oh, okay, my journal imported. There it is. Everything is fine. Then I can go back to my import file. I toggle activation again and toggle activation again. So I got all of those records there. I leave that process because I don't want to import that file again. Okay, so I leave that process and then I just go and import. And I can say yes. So it won't import the one tick process. I can just click on import and it will import the new ones for me. So if I go back to my journal screen, you will see I've got 4 journals because I had 4 records. You can see I've actually had some listings as well. Okay, so the principles of the import scenario, the bulk importing works the same. If you're doing it for vendors or customers, it works the same. If you wanted to, let's say you wanted to update the customer terms or you wanted to update something on a customer file. So if I go to customers, let's find it, receivables, customers. Okay, so let's say I'm going to take AA customers. And let's look at the field we can change. Let's say we wanted to increase the limit of the write-offs. Okay. So Acumatic's got, yeah, let's do it this way. I'm going to show you how to create your own import scenario quickly. Okay, so we're going to say we only want to import the credit limit of all the customers. What I normally do is I just export my customer list because I want to export everything. Okay, I'm going to find it, open it. And then, so what I normally do is I leave these 2 columns. I'm going to override that one with the write-off limit. And I'm going to delete all of these ones. Okay, so this is just Excel. This is my sheet name. I'm going to say I'm going to make it 10,000. Okay, and I'm going to save it and I'm going to call it update customer write-off limits. I could have done it with credit limits as well, actually, but let's use this one for example. I'm actually going to put another column in. I'm going to say enable write-off. Maybe it's not enabled, then my limit is not going to work. Okay. And I'm going to make it, so in Acumatica, a 0 is false and a 1 is true. So I'm going to make it all 1 to say it's true. Okay. Then I'm going to go to Acumatica and I'm going to first create a data provider. So a data provider is that Excel sheet that I'm just created. Then I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to say upload custom limits. And I'm going to use Excel as a provider because I've got it in Excel. Then I save it. Now I drag and drop my file. Okay. I need to give my file name a name. All I need to do is reload parameters. I go to schema. There's my 2 Excel sheets. You remember if I show you here, there's my 2 sheets. So I'm going to say I'm going to use the data one and I'm going to fill the fields. So this is exactly what is in my Excel. I'm going to save it and I'm going to go to import scenarios. Now I'm going to create an import scenario to update my credit limit. So I'm going to click on the plus. I'm going to also call this update customer write-off limits. Now it's asking me what screen. Okay, so the screen is exactly the screen that you have to choose here. So I'm going to go to my other session. I'm going to go to receivables. I'm going to open my screen. So if I open my screen ID is on top here. It's AR30,000. So I'm going to go and I'm going to click on this browser here. I'm going to put in that screen ID. There's my customers. Then it's asking for the provider. So the provider is the one I just created. So I'm going to type in here update. Okay, nothing comes up. Let me search for it. There it is. Oh, it's upload. Okay, I typed it wrong. But let's work with that. Okay, so now I've put in my details in here to say what am I going to update. Now I'm going to ask at my mapping, I'm going to say what am I going to update. So if I click on the plus, so what is nice is if you look at the screen, the top section is my customer summary. And then if I go, can you see, to my finance, it's finance settings, and there's my write-off limit. Okay, so you must, even if you wanted to update, say, your credit verification, you always look at the heading where it falls under. So if I go here and I say, okay, that's my customer summary, and I put in my customer ID. So by default, my keys will come up, so you don't have to worry about that. So the field action is the field in Acumatica on the screen. The source is my Excel. So where did I store it? So that's my Excel. So the next one I want to update is my credit, my write-offs. Okay. Even though I've got all these fields on here, I don't have to map my customer name. Okay, I can just go straight to these two records. So where did I find it on the screen? It's under finance settings. So I will type here finance, and then you can see these finance settings. So exactly where it is on the screen is where you will find it in the import scenario. So I'm going to say write-off. So enable write-offs, and that equals my enable write-offs and my limit, and that will be my Excel limit. So what do you do when you're on a screen and you change something? You save it. Okay. So just like we save it on the screen, we must save it in the import scenario as well. So the last one is go back to my summary because that's my header section. I have to save it. Okay. Now I want it on the screen, or I don't want it on the screen because I'm not going to use it that often. Then I can just run it from here. I can go and search for my file, upload customer limits. The little star there so I can stay there. And I can go and choose my file. Prepare. Make sure it looks like my Excel. And I can say import. Okay. You can see the records are being uploaded, and you can see under process there's tick, tick, tick boxes. So you can see, okay, it's going to go through. So while this is running, I'm going to go to my other session. So I'm here at customers. I'm going to refresh the screen here with this glorified cancel. You can see now it's 10,000. So if I go to my next record, it's 10,000. Okay. And there I've just done a bulk upload or made a bulk change. So I think the most important lesson out of this is if you do an import scenario, exactly where the fields is on the screen is where you will find it in the import scenario. If I was going to change, maybe tick this, I will find it under print and email settings. So you will find it under the same place where it is on the screen. So let's go back there. So that's still busy running. Okay. While that is running, I'm just going to go back to my import scenario and I'm going to make a change here. I'm actually going to put this I'm going to make this first journal like an imbalance journal, because that's the next one I want to show you. Okay, I think this is, how many records did I have? I had 125 records. So I like to do this. I like to click on process and click on false. Sometimes you need to do it like 3 times before it works. Some other disorder. So, okay, so that's on record 90 now. So I'm going to let this run because we know it did update. I didn't actually have to do the whole 125. But I'm going to go quickly. The next one is avoiding common import errors and optimizing import scenarios. Okay, so I'm going to go to my GL import file again. I'm going to do this from the menu. Here's my import GL journal. Okay, let's say I'm going to import the file again from scratch. Okay, so I know now, and I'm going to click on prepare. I know now I've made this journal imbalance, but let's say I did not know. Someone gave me the file, I'm going to import this. And you do have an option to say break on change, or you can just import it like it is. So I don't know, there's a mistake there. So I'm just going to click on import. Okay, so now you see there's 2 records that, 2 records did not import and the rest did import. If I read the error, it will tell me exactly what the problem is. It will tell me my batch is out of balance and there's a debit and credit. So you can filter on all your errors. I can either say false for what is not been imported, or I can just say my errors is not empty. Okay, so I only got my errors. Then you can look at the screen here and you can say, okay, but what is the problem? Then you see, oh, okay, I've got a debit, I've got 2 credits there. You can fix it on the screen and you can import it. Or you can filter out your errors. You can export it. Very important here is your tab, okay? So I need to change my tab back to what it should be. I can actually leave all the other stuff just as it is. And then I can go in and I can fix my errors. Save it and upload it again. Just close this one quickly. Or do that. Okay. So I've got an option here to fix it on the screen and import. It goes through, or I can upload it and then I only upload those those errors that I've fixed. So if I do that again, oh, nothing came up. What did I do? Child journal. Oh, I know why it didn't come up. Okay. So the reason I can't see anything, even though it shows completed, I've got a filter on here. Okay, so I just need to clear filter. So there's only the lines that I exported that gave me errors. I only had to change the sheet name and I can just import it. And there you go, it's imported. If you want to know, you know what, this is too risky, you don't like this. There's also you can also do a test update before you do the live update. So I'm going to upload that file again that I just had there. Click on prepare. So I can go to details. I can say validate no saving and I can import. Oh wait, I selected the wrong one. I was supposed to select this one. Sorry. Okay, prepare. I still got my wrong one there. I'm going to say validate and import. So this only validates my file. It didn't actually import anything. So now I've got a chance to go and fix my file, upload it again, and validate it again. Okay, so I can do this before I do a live update. So if I say, okay, yeah, that's wrong, I can see I fix it on the screen, and then you can validate it again and say import. No errors. Then you just click on prepare again. Oh, okay. I'll fix it on the screen, and then I can import the live import. Okay. So that's import scenarios there. And now you can avoid errors before you upload it. Okay. I'm just going to switch my screen again. Okay. Where's my PowerPoint? Sorry, I'm just looking for my presentation here. There it goes. Okay, so we've done the automatic bank reconciliation with real-time matching. We've done some bulk uploading of journals. We didn't do the vendor bills, but it works exactly the same as the customer data or the journals. We avoided common import errors and optimizing our import scenario. And then the last one is best practice for finance team using Acumatica. So some of the points here is you've got your centralized data, your instant access, and performance monitoring. You can automate processes. So we can schedule recurring transactions. We can auto email invoices. We've got a client that every morning, 7 o'clock, we send all the invoices done the previous day, we send out to the clients via email. We can auto email supplier references. We've got robust reporting and analytic capabilities. So Acumatica's got all these nice built-in dashboards. So we can customize those dashboards. You can customize your own dashboard if you would like to. They've got the budgeting and forecasting, and we've got integration to Velexia or OData. So if you don't, OData is a feature within Acumatica that anybody can use. You can extract data into Excel, or you can use the Velexia, which is a nice reporting tool for your finance reports, your management packs. We can integrate to other systems with such as e-commerce, Shopify, anything that's got an API we can integrate. We actually got a client now who's want to integrate Adobe eSign. So you can actually sign on your PDF in Acumatica. And also the same client wants to send SMSs out of Acumatica for the customers, because a lot of customers don't read the email, but they can get an SMS to say, okay, we want your account is due. So we want to send out SMSs. Yeah, and then we've got the approvals. I didn't switch on the approvals now, but we've got it. What nice is about approvals, you don't need someone to go to someone and say, please sign on this document. You do everything on the system. There's an audit trail, who signed it and who signed in, like who was the original signer, maybe you reassign your approvals. There's always an audit trail on that. And it enhances your transparency in your business process. Okay. So that is all from me. So I think we've got some time for questions and answers. If there's anybody who's got any questions.
Hi, Letitia, thank you. Yeah, I think I'm going to go through the recording again.
Any suggestions on what maybe next time we can do a training session on something else that you have a suggestion on?
Our thing at the moment is we want to sort out the banking, so because we've got
Okay.
multiple banking accounts, and
Okay, I think that is the end of this
so
session.
that's
And I just want to thank you again for giving me the opportunity to show you this. If you did learn anything, or there's anything here that you think, it can be a benefit for your company, you can just send us an email and we can implement that. I think that is, thank you everybody for your time. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. So we're going to end the session now.
Hello.
Hi, Letitia. I just launched a
Mohammed, I can't hear
poll
you.
for. Okay. I've just launched a poll for everybody. If you all can please complete it before you leave, that will be really appreciated from marketing.
will we get the recording?
Yes.
Thank you.
Cheers, Diane.
Cool. Thanks.
To those of you that are completing the poll, thank you very much. I really appreciate your feedback. All attendees will also be receiving the recording of this webinar by tomorrow, close of business. We really appreciate your participation, and we hope to have many more informative sessions for all of you. Thank you to all of you that have completed the poll. I will now be closing the session for all of you guys. Thank you. Have a lovely day. Bye.